Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. Um, do a video tonight as we go through this holiday season. I just want to have a heart-to-heart message with you. I don't really have anything that's drawn from um, anything other than life experience, and I think most of the show probably is that anyway. But sometimes I try to refer to some different things, but tonight I just really want to speak to you from the voice of an alcoholic in recovery, and hopefully help you through these holiday seasons. You know, some of the holidays I think that we look at the events of whatever the name of that holiday day is, and we are think of that day and all the challenges that come with that day. But I can tell you, in my active use and in some of my worst mental health states, it's been the collective of a lot of what these seasons really do remind us of. And the day after doesn't feel any better. In fact, if you're alone and you're struggling with addiction, or if you're early in your recovery, if you've got mental health issues, if you're a wounded warrior that's got some serious PTSD that is considered, is contemplated not being here anymore, this can be absolutely haunting and insulating, and keep rooms very, very close and problematic. And it doesn't matter if you're in a crowd or if you're alone or whatever it is, you've always got this haunting thing that's over top of you. And it can be calling you back to your substance, which is a place where you can at least wash it out and you feel like you're, somewhat in a place that's not tormenting you all the time. Or you can constantly have this grind of self-destruction and behaviors that could always cause you problems. I could think of, the day after holidays a lot of times, or the day of holidays. So when all the festivities are done with family and you've fulfilled, if you're in a bad place with drinking, you're fulfilling your obligations with your families as much as you possibly can, and you cannot wait to leave so that you can go take care of your drinking. And even a store being open long enough with your choice of beverage can be a challenge. And you find the longer that you get into it, you prep for that by making sure you got plenty at the house, which makes it even harder for you to be at family events, especially if you're trying to put on a mask that says that everything's okay. I'm coming to you today heart to heart to say I've been where you're at. And I don't know where you specifically are at right now, but in terms of the timeline of how this all plays out, I've certainly experienced it a few different times in my life, especially given the point of withdrawal. You may have made a decision yesterday that the troubles of the holidays, or maybe you're in a divorce, and the whole that this is challenging for a lot of people that are in divorce and dealing with just the logistics of making sure where the kids are supposed to be and what not so supposed to be. And I think even the best planned separation agreements make that very difficult. But if you have a contentious agreement, especially if you're an addict, and some of the reasons why the separation occurred in the first place was because of your addiction, interestingly enough, it's another example of where the very thing that caused destruction is the very thing that you can't wait to get to because of all of what went on that day. So today is kind of the decompression where now what, perhaps I can remember some of the loneliest times I had was in my divorce, and the weekends after, being alone and not really having much established in my life to give myself any fortification. And it all started with small amounts of beer, and then it turned into much harder things later on. But I can tell you that you aren't alone, and there's millions of those that have walked your walk, and they all look different. The path looks different, but there's certain elements that stages all look the same. And I'll try to explain that a little further. While my recovery journey is going to look different than yours in terms of how I got to currently stable and healthy living, will be different than yours, just by nature of my unique humanity. However, the stages of what withdrawal looks like, the fight that you have to not pick up that bottle in those moments, they're all very similar. And we all have that same draw, and we all just try to figure out what to do with it. We can talk about prevention and how to get ahead of it, but it's amazing how holidays can really drive home some of those behaviors that really cost us everything to make those holidays so stressful in the first place. Now, the way we've commercialized holidays, especially with Christmas, we put a lot of financial burden on families and things like that just to satisfy the traditions. Those can also be stressful and cause problems, but just in and of themselves, let's just say that you were wealthy and had all that, there's still elements emotionally that cause you issues. My point to being on here today, I actually was inspired by a gentleman named Corey Warren, who's got an Instagram, and I would strongly encourage you to go to Corey Warren's Instagram and just watch some of the stuff he has. He has some incredibly realistic reenactments of what it's like to get rid of the bottle. but he also has some really strong commitment videos where he has his family around, he's dumping booze out and things like that. No, it's not during active use. They're obviously reenactments of what his commitment is. But I can tell you that he does a remarkable job of demonstrating what we go through. A few cautionary things. I mean, most of us that profess, recovery and the value of it all recognize that with alcohol, it's one of the substances that can kill you in withdrawal. So you really do need to be careful about your moving into a season of sobriety and what that withdrawal might look like for you, what that medical condition might look like for you. It's not something to tough out if you can help it. I was not wise and toughed it out multiple times, and it really was not wise, and it really did lead me to some pretty precarious situations that could have been a lot worse had one small thing twisted. If a seizure had happened or something like that, I could have been in real trouble. So I'd encourage you to get medical help if you're going through alcohol withdrawal today. If you have picked back up, get through today. There's no shame in that, especially if your heart's in the right place and you're trying to figure things out. It really is about one day. And the gentleman I referred to, Corey Warren, and some of the things that he had indicated on his show or on his Instagram, it really is about one more day, even with the notion that you don't want to be here anymore, you don't want to live anymore. And that could happen for somebody that doesn't have anything with addiction, but that mental health condition that might have put you to a place that you feel like life is just not worth living anymore. You don't have to live your whole life today. And the same thing with sobriety. You don't have to be sober your whole life. Make a commitment today. And then hopefully tomorrow you get back up and make the same promise again. But right now you have one job, and that's just today. And just do it till you go to bed. If you're early on and this was day one and you're sweating right now, for us, it's about 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You might be sweating right now just trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? And you're manic and everything else. Settle your mind back in and recognize you made the decision today. And just do what you got to do to get to bed. It's not going to be comfortable, and there's nothing you can do to make it comfortable. But I can tell you as you progress through day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, you're going to start to see the symptoms start to go away. And this commitment you've made now is going to be more about the work you need to do going forward because the alcohol has left your body. Now, should you find yourself in a medical distress, don't play with it. Go right to the ED. In that place, then you can work on transition to finding a way to get detoxed and get yourself back, your feet underneath you. That's nothing to play with. But my heart to you today is just to say, look, I've been where you're at. I've been there multiple times. There is hope on the other side. Every single thing that you find impossible, absolutely impossible, will provide miracles to you should you stick to this program and stick to the way of understanding that today you were powerless over your addiction. And today I am powerless over alcohol. So I have to keep it out of me. Because if I don't, I am powerless over that substance. It owns me. And knowing that is a big part of the battle. Once you get through that threshold of understanding that, then you find that there is a God that actually does care about you and will help you. He will help you. And he will take all those things that you cannot control. It'll make your life real simple. It's small ball. It's hitting off the tee. It's things that are just very basic to the things you're going to need to be much better at later on. But today you don't. Today, you don't need to be a recovery champion. You don't need to start a YouTube channel. You don't need to convince your whole family you're going to be okay. For today, you just have to be okay. And what okay is just not drinking, making the decisions you have to do so that you do have a day 2. And on day 2, you make a new decision. And then all these years later, you'll have all of these 24-hour decisions that led to years and years and years of this work. At the same time, if you're working it correctly, you'll find that many other people will rise because of your rise. But it doesn't have to be that far today. All you have to do today is not drink. All you have to do today, if your mental health condition is in a place where you just don't want to be here anymore, is recognize that there are people that will be in pain if you're gone. You're the only one making that decision for you. And there may have been some very hurtful things that are said to you, and you may have heard them in a way that validates your belief that you shouldn't be here anymore. That happens. Anger and resentments and fights from other people can often lead us to have language said to us that makes us believe, yes, see, I told you I shouldn't be here anymore. It's not true. It's not true. My commitment to you is that I will be here to help direct you if you need it. Go back through videos too if you just want to hear some things that might maybe help you today. If there are things that I can do to support you through this, I'll try to steer you that way. I obviously can't help everybody, but I can maybe point you to a place that can give you some seed of hope. You can reach out to me at Chris at chrisandretro.com. I'll do what I can to support getting you in a place where somebody can actually come alongside you and help you day in and day out. But you're going to need that help. And I don't mind being part of your community to get you going. I won't be able to do it for you, and nobody else can either. Comes down to your decision. Are you willing to cross that line today? Take that bottle and dump it on whatever ground or down whatever sink or in any toilet or throw it in the trash or whatever you got to do. Are you ready? Because you just have to do it today. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment if you'd like. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support that's been growing for the channel. I want to make sure that you understand that my heart is still in the same place. I want to make sure that we're making decisions that are going to help us have hope when all seems lost. At the same time, as I've been talking about a lot lately, your high-risk living, if you think you got it all together and you're hammered today, you were hammered yesterday, and you're going to be hammered tomorrow, it's coming. I promise you. Total collapse is coming. It will come. Addiction and alcohol leave you lonely, sick, dead, broke, alone, hated, despised in many cases, and valueless. It squashes your value and the worth and the purpose that you were born with. We all have one. Addiction is the master of killing that. Find your path. Just do it today. And if you and you will need support. So please reach out to me or anybody that you have around your community. There's plenty of programs you can get plugged into. Look up on Google AA meetings near me or anything like that, and you'll find all kinds of support in your community. I don't care where you are. And you can find better days. You absolutely can. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Please like and subscribe again, comment. And between now and the next time I talk to you or we talk here, I'm going to do everything I can to stay out of trouble. I'm going to live sober 24 more hours. And I hope you stay sober, and I hope you stay out of trouble too.